Alloy is an identity decisioning platform that helps banks and fintech companies automate their identity decisions, approving more good customers and eliminating fraud. And it's a command center for identity. So we help with everything from KYC, AML, risk, and fraud in one single API platform that connects you to get a single profile of your customers and make better decisions. There's a sense, especially in Silicon Valley, I think that people know fintech. They think, like, there's a lot of investors here who think they understand fintech. And what I think they mean, they might understand payments, but I don't think they understand fintech. And so I think there's actually a danger with investors who think they know a lot about your industry because then they're quick to form an opinion. And I think that was the case for us, where it was like, well, you're never going to be able to sell into banks. That's really hard to do. You have to be, a certain size and maturity and certain profile to be able to do that. And we were young and not from banks and didn't know a whole lot about it. And so I think that was sort of an easy conclusion to draw. And so I actually think we did better with a generalist seed fund that just looks at kind of the founders. At least that's my take on how Eniac views it, is like, just kind of believe in the founders, believe they have a certain amount of grit, that they have a certain background that means that they can kind of take a look at an industry and, build exciting software for it.
There was a long stretch of time there where we just said we have to survive if we believe in this. And we made some longer term bets at points that we thought we were going to be successful. And then it took longer than we thought. We had a very large office for our size at the time that Nahal invested in us, that we never filled out. And we spent a lot of time skateboarding around that office. I had a skateboard in the office because it was just a big empty room.
There were a lot of dogs. I remember there were more dogs than staff members. Yeah. Although the dogs could have been staff members.
Yeah, maybe that's how we sold it to you at the time, that we had so many employees. We were counting all the dogs.
I really never would have imagined where we are now. Like, we talked about 2018 and 2019, sort of the rise of embedded fintech and banking as a service. Like, it's wonderful that we caught that wave and we feel so lucky, but it's not like we sat there in 2015 when we started the company saying, like, that's going to happen. Financial services is going to be, sort of embedded and there's going to be all these new applications. So it's hard to sit here and say what we think the future looks like. But I do think that all of these tools have made building financial services apps, for lack of a better word, so much faster, so much easier, so much safer. And so I think you're just going to see this sort of spin up of tons of different applications, a lot of like niche banking you're seeing now, right? Serving niche audiences, serving niche products, the kind of modularization of banking products where you now see like buy now, pay later for everything, right? For every set ticket size imaginable. At some point, I think some of that will start to consolidate again. And I think we've seen that over the years, over the last decade, right? There's sort of the unbundling and the rebundling, the unbundling, and the rebundling. And so I think we're going to continue to see that take different shapes and forms. But regardless, I do think there's sort of decentralization that's happening where you're bringing it away from the kind of power centers that exist, with the caveat that I think the major power center of kind of the regulatory system in the United States seems to not be going away anytime soon.
We try to cut down on the bureaucracy. Like, being in financial services, we have a lot of requirements to do things a certain way, and second guessing to some extent what those requirements are for, and if we can satisfy them another way, and make our auditors happy, while also like not introducing any more red tape to the process. Being really intentional about bureaucracy, decision making, all that sort of stuff has helped us.
We're sort of trying to stay really conscious on a weekly basis of what is slowing us down. Is it the way that we have meetings? Is it the way that we're making decisions? Is it the way that there are various layers of approval we need for things as we scale? And so we're just trying to stay really conscious of those and try to eliminate the things that we can. It doesn't mean we're always going to be able to move everything at warp speed, but wherever we can, we're going to try to do that. And the second thing I think is staying really close to our clients. So I think this is one of the things that's unusual about us is our CEO spends a crazy amount of time with our clients. He is like day in and day out on kind of, solutions architect meetings with them. He's consulting with them. He's listening to them. And so that lets him stay on top of what they're looking for in the market, their product feedback, stuff like that.